Greetings once more. I'm Regina Tseisi, the occupational therapist from Ratlo Sub-District, and together with my co-presenters, Yundin Rata, the physiotherapist at Khalexpan Hospital, and Linita Adams, the physiotherapist at Ratlo Sub-District, will be presenting on Walking into My Dreams. Before we walk through the book that is Walking into My Dreams, we'll have an overview over the condition that inspired the book, which is club feet. Club feet is a musculoskeletal birth defect wherein the children's feet are born with feet that are bent inwards and sometimes downwards. It could be unilateral or bilateral. Club feet has no clear cause of what makes the children be born with club feet, but genetics do play a role, and it is often concurrent with other neurological conditions such as cerebral palsy. In South Africa, one child out of 500 live births are born with club foot. South Africa has the second highest incident rate for children born with club foot. In a year, about plus or minus 200 children, 2,000 children are born with club foot. As therapists, we know that we know that there's many misconceptions around disability, and club foot is no exception. Mostly when people see children with physical disability, they often assume that their mental functioning are also impaired, which has a negative impact on them being able to access education. With club foot, it can be treated successfully with the Ponseti method. The Ponseti method includes two phases of intervention: the correction phase and the maintenance phase. With the correction phase, it includes serial casting, manipulation of the foot into correct positioning, and also a tenotomy, which is just a small surgery at the back of the heel. With the maintenance phase, the children are required to wear the orthopedic boot, where it is used to maintain their position. They are required in the first 3 to 4 months. They are required to wear the boot 24 hours, and only to be taken off when they are bathing. And then thereafter, they were required to wear the orthopedic boot during sleeping time and napping time. The intervention can last up to 4 years. I'm sure most of you are wondering what made me write the book. Based on the experiences of what I have come across while working with clients with club feet, you can often hear the parents expressing that they did not understand the condition when they first saw it. And with this lack of information, it makes it impossible or hard for the parents to access the health services. And then because of the stigma that is around disability, most parents often shut themselves or isolate themselves within their houses, and often present their children at a later stage, wherein a correction it becomes a problem. With intervention, it already becomes a struggle to correct them, because it's easier to correct them while they are still young, before they even start ambulating. And then, often parents are very hesitant about their children. The moment they hear about a surgery, everyone is afraid. What are the outcome of the surgery? Will anyone lose their life? So we often, with some of the parents, we are not able to go further with the intervention when they are hesitant about taking on the surgery. But we are hoping that with this book, it can be able to ease the parents' minds that the surgery is a minor surgery, that it has no threat to their lives. And then there's also a problem with that the parents brought forward, its accessibility and cost. In the past, most of these services that were only accessible at the hospital, which means that those in the rural areas have to travel long hours and also have to pay large sums of money to be able to access the services. But now with the decentralization of the skills on how to manage a club food via the NGO steps to various therapists that are working in various rural areas and opening and activating the clinics there, it has made it possible that they can at least access services at their local clinics where the therapists are located. So with clubfoot, the reason that I wrote with clubfoot is that it can be easily corrected, and with that correction, which means they contribute to the economy. There's no need for them to be supported with a disability grant, while they can be corrected and contribute into the working force. So before we go and have a breakdown of the book that we have written, these are some of the illustration of the book. But before we go into the breakdown of the book, sorry for the echo. So we'll read some of the passage from the book, and then thereafter we'll have a breakdown of each chapter.
Chapter 1. The New Arrival. At home, there was big joy at the arrival of the newborn family member. Everyone ululated and smiled. There was a nice smell of freshly baked cakes and coffee in the air as Granny had prepared them for the welcome. Lorato was jumping up and down. Let me see how good looking my grandson is. Wow, he looks pretty. He has my eyes, Granny Malopo said while unwrapping the blanket. Oh, but what's wrong with his feet? Why are they bent to the inside? Did he break his feet during the delivery? Suddenly, Granny was worried. Mom, no one broke his feet. He was born this way, they said to us. Moratiwa, the baby's father, answered. No one in our family has been born with this disability before. They must have bewitched my grandson. I've never seen something like this. Kilebogile, have you seen this problem in your family? No, Kilebogile answered. As Moratiwa was trying to tell you, we have an appointment next month at the hospital. They said there is a clinic for this problem and that they can correct the feet with proper treatment. Mom, this is not bewitchment. Many kids are born with different disabilities, and we are lucky that our son can be assisted at the hospital. Moratiwa tried to be patient with his mother. So I will be reading from chapter 2. At the Clubfoot Clinic of Tusano Hospital. Before we go any further, I would like to tell you that nothing that you did caused your child to have club feet, Mrs. Timakatsu explained. The condition of clubfoot can affect one foot or both feet. The child is born with the feet pointing inward and sometimes downward. In most cases, it can be treated here successfully. If the condition is very severe or we start our treatment very late, we might need to refer you to another hospital. There is no clear cause of the condition. Dr. Molefe will continue to explain the treatment methods. Mrs. Letabo, the parent advisor, asked carefully, Miss Jane, if you don't mind me asking, why did you only come now to our clinic? What held you back? You know, I was very ashamed of my child's condition. Rabone's father left us when he saw his feet were deformed. He said that he has no son like that, and he could never father a son with such disability. He accused me of not being faithful. But that is not true. Because of that, I have been afraid of showing my son to the community. We hardly went out unless for clinic visits for vaccinations. I'm even afraid of getting another child. I'm afraid the same thing would happen again. Jane's eyes filled with tears. Mrs. Davis put her arm gently around her shoulders. Chapter 3. Lorato is learning more about her brother some weeks later. I remember you told me there's a group of you mothers and children. How are the others doing? We are all doing great. It's just that Raubone has to do 2 more pops before he is ready for surgery, as he was already walking when he started the therapy. And Mrs. Davis' daughter is at the same age as we are. Is Mrs. Davis an English-speaking lady? Granny asked curiously. Yes, she is a white lady from the neighboring farms. So, Kilobuchile, that means this is not bewitchment. Anyone can be born with this problem. Granny seemed satisfied with herself at coming to this conclusion. That's what I've been trying to tell you, that it can happen to anyone. Klapfu doesn't choose any culture over another here in South Africa. Chapter 5, The Graduation, many years later. The doors opened and out came all the students in their graduation gowns, throwing their hats high into the air. Lorato wore a smart dress and took photos with her brother, Kaboya One. Mrs. Malopo was crying, but tears of joy. I'm so proud of our boy. I never thought that we could be here at the university because of him. I still can't believe it. I think I'm dreaming. My son is a law graduate. Mr. Malopo held her hand. He too was moved. Granny was with him, ululating and dancing. And to think, I thought maybe he was bewitched. I was afraid he would be one of those children who can't learn, and now he has showed me to not judge before understanding the situation. Granny commented between her moves. How do you feel, Cabo, my baby? Granny, I am a man, no more baby. But yes, Mom, Dad, Gran, I'm so happy beyond words, Kabuya One said. He looked extremely handsome in his graduation gown.
From the passage that we read, we can see from chapter 1 how the parents love their child despite the condition. But what you could see from the grandmother's reaction is how much cultural beliefs have an impact on our way of thinking, on our way how we view things. But if left unattended, the child would have not accessed I would not have accessed services of health if the grandma stood firm in her belief that it was bewitchment, which will later lead to the child living with disability, whilst it could have been corrected. And then with chapter 2, it easily illustrates how important your mental health is, because most parents come there with the heavy burden, thinking that they've done something. What has happened to their child is maybe something that they have contributed to. So ensuring their mental health and easing their mind ensures that they access health, and they also continue to access health and not default. And then from Miss Jane's experience, it's easily, as everyone can see, it easily illustrated what could have happened if the grandma stood firm in a cultural beliefs. It shows how stigma had an impact on her not being able to access health services, of hiding herself and isolating herself because of what the community is saying and fear of rejection. and how it impacted his health, the child, how it impacted the child's health. And then chapter 3 is just to shed, it's there to shed the light that it could happen to any ethnicity group. It can affect anyone. It's not attached to culture, it's not attached to beliefs. Anyone can have this condition. And then with chapter 5 is there to expel this notion of belief that people with disability, they cannot attain achievement. So with chapter 5, I want to enlighten the people and also encourage people with disability that they can set goals and then they can attain them with dedication. I'm sure most of you are wondering how we're going to use this book within clinic settings, especially the club food clinic. So while in the club food clinic, can use it in the group form. You read the book and make in the group setting. You must also take important the setting and how you structure and who's to present. So parent advisor or facilitator or a therapist at the clinic can facilitate it, and then you structure it in the form of a circle so anyone can see each other and hear each other clearly. And then from there, you read the book, and you then, after reading the book, then you ask the participant to express how do their actual experiences relate to the book. And then you ask questions such as, how did you feel at first when they present your baby and told you about club food, and how did the family react, and how is the intervention so far, and how are you coping now? So within this group, there'll be imparting of information. Parents will share information on how did they, if they encounter such problem that was in the group, how did they overcome them? And it also instill hope that we are not alone. There are others out there. Then the hope will be instilled, and then they know that the child can be helped and can be able to walk and run freely without pain. And also it will be cathartic for the mothers, because they get to express their emotion or how overwhelming it was, thereby easing their mental factors. And then in terms of if you are using it with the group of children, then you'll ask questions that are at the level of the children, asking which character did you like, what did you like about that character, what did you learn from the story. And then I have to give credit to the illustrator who illustrated the book for us, Mr. Levi Poi. And that's his contact. And if you want to learn more about the club food and also get brochures, you can get it from, I can go to the STEPS website and access those brochures. And I also would like to make a note that the book has not yet been published. It's still in the pipelines. Yeah, and we are hoping that after publication, we can translate it into other South African language so that it can be used and be expressed in the language that is easily understandable to the parents. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ladies. I think these are the great joys of attending a rural healthcare conferences. You come across such great innovative ways of teaching, and you wish that a lot of condition could be presented in such a way. I think this is a great tool, not for only clinical work, but also for community at large, even at high schools or primary schools. I just want to ask you one question. How did you feel when you were writing this book? Thank you.
While writing the book, I was a bit nervous, and then also very optimistic, hoping that it will be able to assist many people, because yes, there've been real life stories that have been shared, but I was hoping that if in a book form, in a story time, will the people in a story, I was hoping that people will be able to more remember the facts, more remember what what is being said in the book, because it's a story. And it it will be amazing if I could see it changing lives and ensuring that more children are get to be treated and be treated early.
We are a little bit unsure of that. We have written to them about this project, but so far there hasn't been a reply, official reply.
I think, yeah, we can expand the project to other conditions after when this one has been successfully published, and also seen how much impact it has in the health system.
Thank you very much. Just a suggestion. How about you guys start a YouTube channel where you can present this kind of books? Then people can follow you, just to be accessible to many people.
Thank you for such a wonderful suggestion. We'll take it up and then we'll think about it.
Thank you so much for the encouragement. And we also want to state that in the second part of the book, there is a little fact sheet where people who use the story can even update their own knowledge. And there is an intro how the maintenance phase is and a little bit more detail. So yeah, we are learning on this journey. We have made quite some mistakes already, but we are still improving also on the storyline to make it more easy to be accessible for everyone who reads it.
Thank you very much. It looks like this brings to an end to our session. Thank you to everyone who has joined us. I hope you enjoyed everything and you've learned a lot